Elizabeth Winstead, the director, Chris Messina. It's a great piece of work. It's a really good film. Congrats.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Of course. Mary, what were your first thoughts when you got this script? It's such a key role for an actress, I feel like, and it's probably a rarity that as an actress you get something where a woman gets to struggle with issues like this.
Yeah, I think as an actress you kind of know immediately when a role like this comes along that you want to do it. You know, I connected completely with the story and with the character and just all the places she goes, and I think just getting to be more than one thing as an actress is always so exciting. We don't have to just be the sexy girl or just the, you know, the quirky girl or whatever the one quality is that is so often kind of given to you as an actor. To get to play something that she's just a human being and she kind of gets to be everything in one. And that to me is just always really exciting. And then to get to work with these guys, you know,
you get
Chris
to have
was,
all of the great moments too.
Yeah.
You're not on the sidelines for somebody else having the great moments. You get to be a part, even if it's Don Johnson's great moment,
right.
you know, or Katie's great moment. You get to sort of be there with them.
To be involved in everything and involved with everybody's kind of story. Everybody's sort of connected to Alex in some way, which was such a great opportunity to have.
Katie, without sounding like a hack, I don't want to say where did you get this idea, but where did this story come from for you? Why did you want to tell the story of a single mother sort of struggling with her job and her father? Where did the idea come from? I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. I'll forgive you. No, I'm just kidding. Basically, the story of Alex was based upon my writing partner Justin Chilton as a woman that he dated. Mm-hmm. And she had a young child and was just left by her husband. And so that was where the story of Alex came from. And then Dakota is based on my goddaughter, Riley. So it's sort of like everyone has a connection to in some sort of roundabout way of that. But that's where the story of Alex came from, is from a relationship that Justin Chilton had with a woman. Mm-hmm. Real life Alex.
How did it resonate with you telling her story?
I mean, I think like what Mary says is that you never see real women's stories in films. It's always like, you're the bimbo, you're the Bond girl, or you're like the idiot. And so it's nice to see a story about a woman that's really dealing with something and really going through something real. And, you know, I know that that's what Chris really responded to as well as a director, is just a story that really touches your heart and that everyone can relate to, or, you know, has had a friend or mom, sister that's happened to, and then sort of like what that does to the family unit and how everyone reacts and, you know, comes together around them.
Without calling this film, you know, a woman's story specifically, was that something that interested you in directing? This is your first directorial effort, right?
It is. It is.
So what made you want to sort of take the leap and tell a woman's story rather than, you know, the story of a young male actor?
Well, you know, when the script when the script first came to me, it was kind of a collage of a lot of characters in Venice, and in the core of the story was this family. So the writers and I really took our time working through the story, and we kind of weeded out the surrounding group of people and really centered it on this family. And
was it like a shortcut to Venice kind of thing?
It did. It had a lot. There were a lot, and there were great characters. There was a lot of them, and I was really interested in the family. Mm-hmm. At that point, when we were working on it, it was up for grabs. I mean, Alex was always at the heart of the story, but for a little bit, I think we talked about her son and our son, Dakota, going down through his eyes and through my character's eyes and through the sister's eyes. And it really just presented itself that it was Alex's story, and that's what was happening in the writing. Was it like a personal relation to Alex's story, or was it sort of objective, like you're looking at the material and you think to yourself, just as a storyteller, this is where the heart is? It's not necessarily a personal connection right away, but just as a storyteller. Yeah, I mean, I loved the character and I love the writing of the character, but it just presented itself that it would be about this woman, that she was taking us through. This family and through Venice, you know, and her life.
We keep talking about a woman's story and the kind of roles that women always have to play in Hollywood. Was it difficult for you guys to find funding for a film that was centrally focused on a woman?
No, you know, we have great producers, Jamie Patrickoff and Lynette Howell, who took care of us from the beginning. So we were lucky. To be a first-time director and have these actors and that team of producers, and was kind of a dream come true. I'm extremely lucky. So we we were set from the beginning.
It's a fairly low-budget film with some really big names in it. I'd imagine your shooting schedule was pretty limited. I'm curious, it feels very intimate. Your relationships with Don Johnson, with Katie, they all feel really fleshed out and really intimate. How difficult was that to do? I'm assuming you didn't have a very long rehearsal schedule with them.
Yeah, we didn't
really have any
really have any. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
You jump
We
in,
had
you
dinner
jump
a
in
few
so
times.
how do you create that intimacy on set with these people? Because it has to feel lived in
Yeah.
to feel like a family, and it
Well,
does.
I think we met a bunch and we talked a bunch, and what we did do, which the editor hated, but I was always happy about, is a lot of times if you and I were in a scene like this, there's a camera on me here and there'd be another one on you. Maybe there is another one on you. There is another one on you.
Yeah, we've got like 7
Yeah, you got a
cameras.
Yeah, there's a
here.
lot.
I wish we could just start cutting to each one of them right now.
Yeah, there we go.
Showcase. There we go. There it is.
There it is.
Nice.
And we would run out we shot on the Alexa, and the card is about 27 minutes, so we'd let the card run out for its duration.
Wow.
And without cutting, and some notes or some ideas. And I think through that, we found a lot of honest moments. And the characters, like there's a scene with the two of them that I really love in the movie, and just by letting it run for 27 minutes, this relationship starts just happening, and they found some really cool stuff. So I think that was helpful.
Mary, you sort of have the luck right now of being able to do things like A Good Day to Die Hard or Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim is sort of in a different category than that film.
Yeah.
But sort of bigger films where there's definitely a bigger paycheck. But do those allow you to do something like this? Is that sort of part of the game for you? Is that you get to do this, and then the real work for you is working with Chris and Katie on a film like this?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't want to disparage those films at all. I mean, they're great, and they're a completely different experience, and they're a ton of fun if you go in kind of knowing what that experience is going to be. Which oftentimes does feel a little bit more like work, because it is so much more technical. Whereas when you do a film like this, it doesn't feel like work at all. I mean, it's like getting to go to acting school, for a month, which for me is such a luxury to get to have that opportunity. So I think ultimately, these films don't pay, so it is sort of like, it is this great sort of experience that you choose to do, as opposed to I'm going to go do this job and get a paycheck. And it's sort of, I'm only able to do it because I am also lucky enough to do a big film every now and then, which allows me to do these smaller movies and just to get these interesting experiences. So they're both equally important to me.
I have a tangential question about Die Hard. Really,
Okay.
stuff, which is that you play Lucy, the daughter, in the first one, and then when they introduce a new buddy for him that's part of the family, they make this new movie and introduce a son.
Yeah.
And Lucy can't really take part in the fun and games. Did you question that when you? I mean, clearly you were like, yes, please, I'll come do the movie. That sounds great, guys. Thank you. But were you kind of like, hey, I was here. I can shoot a gun.
Sure, I would have gotten in there. Wasn't the plan. Although the first Die Hard, they do say that he has a son and daughter, so it didn't come out of nowhere. He always had a son and a daughter. You just had never seen the son before, or maybe you see him for a second in the original. I'm not sure. But he always did have a son, so they did have a reason to go the son route. But
Yeah, they never thinking about the woman.
Exactly.
The daughter,
Hence why we had to write this film.
Exactly. And then, I didn't realize it, but I'm thinking about it now. Your film is an answer to A Good Day to Die Hard.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, you at the airport.
Now, this is great. You just whipped that right up.
I know.
you
You're so
got?
I guess it
prepared.
seems like
That's
we
kinda
looked that
scary.
right up, but that was a question we had planned a long time ago.
Okay.
Chris, you're on the Mindy Project, and you get to watch Mindy Kaling sort of run her first show, and you go into making your first film. I'm wondering if you learned anything from how Mindy handled the writers, handles the set, handles the actors.
I mean, her job is a lot more difficult in that it's 22, 24 episodes. You're testing out material right in front of 3 million, 4 million people, whoever's watching the show, and getting your feedback, learning what works, what characters work together. So she's also, writing and casting and editing and starring. So it's a bit different, but watching her juggle all those hats is quite impressive. And I definitely did steal as much as I could. She's very calm And
Were you able to remain calm on set?
I
Doesn't sound, there's hesitation there.
On our set?
Yeah.
Was I calm?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the great things about Chris is that he's, actors just by nature are so sensitive and, I mean, good actors and so empathetic and, put themselves in other people's shoes. And I think Chris, one of the reasons he's such a good director is that he thinks about everyone's situation and where they're coming from and sort of knows how to get that in the performance.
Well, it's definitely a requirement for this type of film. As we were saying before, it's a really intimate portrait of these people's lives. So it requires someone who has the sensitivity to get in another person's shoes, which sounds like you were able to do. I have to ask you more questions about the Mindy Project because people are asking these questions for me to ask you.
Right now they're asking?
Right now they're asking. This is from
Oh
Emily
my God,
Tescats, who's
Danny's
asking,
fans.
are you okay with the fact that all women are mad at you for breaking Mindy Kaling's heart a couple weeks ago?
What camera's mine? This one? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I apologize.
Wait,
I'm here.
yeah, go ahead, go there.
I feel like I'm in Tootsie all of a sudden here. Okay, there I am. I apologize. I'm very sorry. Yes, I know I am.
You're a heartbreaker.
I know,
No,
and you're a
I-
heartbreaker in this movie too. My
Yeah,
God.
what's wrong with you, Chris?
God.
Typecast.
You typecast yourself.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, I am aware of that, and I apologize to the fans and to, but I would.
But it's a show.
But it's there's a lot of good stuff to come, and you get to see my character kind of feel terrible and try to find his way back to Mindy. So
Yeah, there's a lot of criticism of that show, like really interesting criticism that ties into what we're talking about, though, about the way that women are portrayed, the roles that women are given. I feel like Mindy was given this show. She was able to do what she wanted to do, and she cast people around her. She cast handsome faces because it's television, and there was a lot of criticism that came to her and came to also like Lena Dunham about casting too handsome of men around her, that it wasn't realistic. Did you guys ever talk about that on set? It's absurd. Please, let me just state that I don't necessarily feel this way, but that was something that was
Because they would never do
blogged
that if it
about.
was a man.
Right, that never happens.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
who the hell they have
Happens in the
playing?
no, we
Mindy
never discussed that. I think Mindy Kaling's beautiful, and why not have some handsome guys with her? And I agree. If it was a man show,
No.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There'd be some schlubby guy who'd have
Yeah,
supermodels
with a
around
perfect-looking
him
wife. Yeah.
all the time. It's ridiculous. The King of Queens.
I know,
has that-
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, no one says anything. They're just like, she looks good.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
You wrote. You're a fashion designer, and you also wrote a character who's like a fledgling failing fashion designer.
Really,
I tried to be
just
polite.
failing.
I tried to be polite.
That's okay.
well,
Was
she was all different. That character had a lot of different
Changes.
changes,
Yeah.
and there were some where she was better at it or more successful.
Yeah.
And I'm happy we landed where we did, but.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like no one cares. A success story isn't as interesting as a failing story. It just isn't. It just really isn't. Like, no one wants to hear about, like, all the great comedy comes from failure.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're a successful person, like, no one cares. So
Yeah.
it sort of made more sense to make her, like, kind of a mess and, not that successful at that. So, I mean, it's more interesting.
Chris, earlier this week we had the guys from Loitering with Intent on, who all were so happy that you were coming on as well, and so proud of you for making this film. And they all said that you guys all came up together.
Yeah.
And we're really close friends. I'm wondering if you have any stories that you can share about coming up with them, any sort of fun night out with the boys.
Oh, wow. Well, I've had a lot of fun nights out with those guys. Look, Sam Rockwell is, I think, one of the great actors of our generation. I think if you look at his body of work, the characters he's played, they're all so different. I mean, there's nothing he can't do, drama, comedy. And I think, I always tell him that we'll be looking at his Lifetime Achievement Award, and when they play those clips, I think the audience will be just blown away on his arc, And Ivan Martin, who wrote the film with Mike Godair, I love those guys. I've done plays with those guys. I directed Ivan in a play years ago, and we were in a movie at Tribeca, Monogamy, directed by Danny Shapiro. And Adam Rapp and I did a play at the Rattlestick Theater Company that he wrote. He's an amazing playwright. We've had some crazy nights. I don't know if we could discuss them here. But when we cut, maybe we could talk.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay.
Guys, thanks so much for joining me and having this conversation. And congratulations on making a really wonderful film and also making a feminist film, to be perfectly honest. It's a rarity that gets to happen. So
Thanks,
thank you.
man. Thanks
Thank
for having
you.
us.
Thank you
I
for
really
having
Please,
us.
I'm honored. Thank you. The pleasure's all here. Alex.